how to leverage the free resources that are available to individuals that are interested in doing business with the federal government.
Do not avoid the temptation to come out the gate certifying, especially as an AA. There's a lot of things they do for free, and then there's some things that are paid, like they do some business development support stuff. But it's not going to be on the same level of you using a business development advisory firm.
The government surplus program, particularly for the 8A contractors, can be very, very powerful because you get access to equipment, supplies, things, even vehicles that you need to fulfill the work, right? Because it's business development.
Welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Curtis A. Merriweather Jr., but you can call me Dr. Curtis. Now, as you already know, the purpose of this channel is to educate entrepreneurs. And we educate entrepreneurs through education, consultation, and training support services. Our goal for this channel is to lower your learning curve and get you to profitability faster. Now, one of the things that I think is unique about this channel is based on almost 28 years of progressive experience in the space. We share practical experience, lessons learned, and we combine the academic and the theoretical. As you guys already know, I completed my PhD last year at Case Western Reserve University. So we're going to bring in what happens in praxis combined with the theoretical to create a force multiplication effect. Now, on my screen, on your screen right now, you're going to see my URL. Please note that my URL has changed since we launched this channel almost 2 years ago. You can go directly to our teaching platform at 8figuregovcon.com. That's 8figuregovcon.com. We have a couple programs that will completely revolutionize your business. I just want to say in this video, we do have a few new service offerings that will be coming online in the fall for my more advanced users. If you won contracts, you got over $1 million in revenue, I got a new program just for you to scale your business. So that information will be forthcoming, and you'll be able to see what we currently have in our course store library. And as those new programs come online, I will announce them on future YouTube channels. So just stay tuned. Okay, before I jump into our topic for today, I want you to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way, anytime I produce new content, you will be notified most promptly. I just also want to say thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the comments. They're truly appreciative. And we just thank you guys for partnering with the channel. Okay. I have a special guest today. She's a friend to the platform. You have not seen her in a while, but I'm going to bring her to the stage. With me today, I have a friend. She is called the Water Walker herself. She leads a group called the Highmark Group, and she's out here evangelizing government contracting, especially for those that are in the product space. So without further ado, I would like to bring my friend to the platform, Miss Sirena Moore-Thomas. It is good to see you.
It is good to be seen.
You know, Sirena, we were kind of brainstorming this topic for the day, and I think we definitely have a treat for the viewers. I love these topics. When we talk about them, we like to kind of be reflective and retrospective of the things that we learned. So today we want to talk about the 5 things I wish I knew before I got started.
Yes. Important topic.
Important topic. You know, especially for the people who are new to this space, you can kind of learn on the shoulders of those who have went before us. Success leaves clues. And so I'm just excited about the topic. So, Sirena, I'm going to let you lead the conversation. What is the number one thing you wish you would have known when you got started? How many years ago was it when you got started?
2000 and 8, 7-ish, 6, 7,
Okay.
something like that.
I'm
Yeah.
like, we
So my
started.
first business started in 2002, but we didn't start doing business with the government right away.
Okay.
So it was like 2006 or 7 or so when we started actually doing
Okay.
business with the government. Yeah.
Very cool. We didn't even incorporate until 2008. And it took us 2010 to get a contract. But that's a conversation for a different day. What
Oh,
is
wow.
the first thing that you wish you would have known when you got started?
One of the major things that I wish I would have known when I got started was how to, I'll say, how to leverage our free resources, how to leverage the free resources that are available to individuals that are interested in doing business with the federal government. And there are plenty of them. And I call it's a version of knowing who's who in the zoo, right? Like who does what, because it's easy to get overwhelmed with all of the resources. You show up at SBA. SBA is going to point you to SBDC. SBDC is going to point you to PTAC or your Apex Accelerator now, and then they might tell you something about MBDA, and then somebody else is going to tell you about SCORE, and then like there's a lot, right? And it's kind of like, do I really need all these resources? And I found myself at first asking everybody kind of the same thing, not understanding the reason and purpose behind all of the free resources. So I wish I would have known that SBA is going to be my champion for all things certifications and funding, right? And advocacy, because that's what they do as an agency. They're an advocacy agency for the small business. I wish I would have known that SBDC, your Small Business Development Center, which is located on a college campus near you, right? I wish I would have known, one, that they recruit from industry. So the people that are counselors there have more business knowledge than many of the people, honestly, at the SBA. That's like true, right? So they're the ones to help me with more of my legal and accounting and reading my financial statement, the business of being a small business. My SBDC person, that's their purpose, right? Primarily. And then your PTEC / Apex Accelerator now, they're my government advocate, but not just federal. That's state, local, everything, government, and market research and things like that. They can give me some true data, like, hey, introduce me to the person at the Army Corps of Engineers near me. Who is it? Make an introduction. Who are the primes in our region that are winning contracts? What industries are they in? Like they're the market research folks, right? Your MBDA is going to do what SBDC does, but for minorities. Minority business development agency, right? So, and then they have some financing things that they can help with, and export and import and things like that. And then SCORE is my industry specific person. This is the person, got Curtis, you're old enough to in this space to remember when SCORE was the Service Corps of retired executives. And it was a hot mess. Okay, let me just tell you, the people they hadn't been in business in 4,500 years. And they were giving advice. But then, they eventually got to the place where SCORE is just SCORE. It just is what it is. Not all of them are retired. Some of them are actually active. I've found active attorneys, active accountants, active government contractors who are lending their time to speak to you, and they have knowledge in your industry. So, like, I didn't know that I could leverage these people and create a team without paying for a team.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to push back.
Sure.
Everything you said was spot on. The thing that I tell students, and I tell them about the free resources too, when they are free, sometimes you're not going to get the same level of attention when you have a paid resource, because it's a free
Absolutely.
service. And I do recommend we take advantage of everything that our tax dollars pays for, and everything Sirena said was spot on. But I want to caution that not all of these representatives are created equal. Just like in
Not at
our
all.
lives, we go to, we deal with different businesses on a day-to-day basis. whole bunch of different capacities. You
For
know,
sure.
if you go to the DMV, there may be one person that's amazing. There maybe another person that's not so amazing. So the
Yes,
same is true here. Even though these resources are free, you know, you want to be very particular. I would even recommend get maybe some word of mouth recommendations on when I go to SCORE, who should I use? And remember, SCORE is going to be different from state to state. Same
absolutely.
thing with MBDA. You know, you can get, at least in my state, MBDA is quasi free, meaning there's a lot
Right.
of things they do for free, and then there's some things that are paid, like they do some business development support stuff. But it's
Mhm.
not going to be on the same level of you using a business development advisory firm. But it is a great if you got limited resources and funds to kind of, you know, engage those folks. But I just want to set expectations that because a lot of people are using these services and you're paying a discounted cost,
Yeah.
particularly, that
Yeah.
you may see the service quality be consistent with that. If that,
Yes.
if,
And
if
let me
that,
That makes great sense. And let me add, because you and I are both in a space, in a paid space. Okay.
yes,
Let's be very clear. Okay. You're going to
yes,
pay for this good service over here
yes,
at mission
yes,
500k.com. You're going to pay at the Highmark University for sure, as a coach and a consultant, right?
right,
What I would say is, in addition to those free resources, what you absolutely have to have is a coach, or a consultant or an advisor that's going to show you the best way to utilize those free resources. So
right,
that's kind of where I come in. That's where Curtis comes in, because you can show up at the door, right? Getting to the door is easy. What to say when you walk through the door is going to come from someone who's been through the door and understands the function, reason, and purpose for each one of those agencies. So it's not that, you just one or the other. It's both and for sure.
absolutely.
And it's just they like getting started. I definitely wish I would have known I could have done some of this. I could have called somebody to say, hey, I need this introduction. I did not understand how to use them, and I was just overwhelmed by them all. But no, for sure, no doubt, they're not created equal. And free is free. Free 99 is free 99. You get what
Free
you get, so
99
you
is
don't get
free
upset.
99. You know, I'm gonna talk about this briefly. I get beat up on social media because my service is not free. I say this all the time. If anything that is free, it has no value. Now, free does not always mean it may mean no cost, but you're gonna have to put some skin in the game. I don't care where you go. Even we talk about these free services at the Apex, MBDA, SBDC. It's gonna be a cost, even though the cost may not be free for you to realize the value that you want to extract. And I often tell people you can go the long way, which is sometimes going to free services, and
Yep.
sometimes the
Yep.
information and the institutional knowledge sometimes isn't there.
Right.
These are lower paid roles, or you can accelerate your journey through paying. Now, you can accelerate your journey by paying. Now, by no means are we trying to make this a Kurt and Sirena pay us channel, but we do want to be honest in the conversation and manage expectations.
Can I say this? And this is
Absolutely.
how I said it to somebody. And man, I wish I would have, because I wasn't gonna go here, but you went there. So I'm gonna go there. Okay. Because we friends and this is a conversation.
Yes.
I had somebody in in my free group, right? My free Facebook group online, asked, well, if you know all of this, like, why are you charging? Like, why are you charging? So I get the same thing you get, right? And my very honest response is, so hold on, you want what costs me everything to cost you nothing?
Yes.
So to develop the kind of content that we develop, the kind of courses that we develop, first of all, let's be clear, I done missed football games, basketball games, my children's sporting events, trying to record videos. I pay for software. I pay for staff. I pay for material to be printed. Like, it costs me. I paid thousands to learn even what I knew, and we started before there was a YouTube. Shoot, that's
Yeah.
add that to the list. I wish there was a YouTube when
Yes.
I got started. But we did the go to the hotel for 3 days on the weekend to the company that's coming in from out of town and sit before them for $3,500 and walk away
Yes.
with a workbook.
Yes.
So
You better talk
so
about it.
you know what I mean? So we're investing a lot of time, energy, effort, resources to create what we create, and create from our perspective. The free resources are from a perspective, right? We teach from being in it, done it, did it, wrote the book about it,
Yep.
coaching, and really not trying to run up and down this court no more.
Right.
Sometimes, depends. Or I'll say I have options. I
Right.
choose when I play the game.
So,
But that is, you have to take that into consideration. So I think you're absolutely right. We all get that on social media. It's you
no,
know,
if you made all this money, why won't you just give your services away? I mean, me and my wife did the calculations one day. If you were to quantify my education in this space from, you know,
Mhm.
all of the degrees, bachelor's in engineering, MBA, master's in project management, PhD, all of the government contract education, I probably invested over $1 million
Sure.
easily in my
Yeah.
education. All the, like you said, little weekend workshops that you go and you pay $3,500 to learn nothing. You can't get
Hmm.
that money back. And they handed you a
Hmm.
workbook and said, high five, great job.
God bless you.
So,
Good night.
right,
Right.
all of the mentors you went through to try to even learn this space, some may have been
Yeah.
good, some may be a bad. All the
Yeah.
mistakes we made. I think I
Yeah.
talked to him one day about being held up by about $500,000 by a large prime. And
Yeah.
so the lessons learned, we're passing that information on to our students,
Yeah.
and we paid severely to learn the stuff that we're teaching. And we don't just
Mm.
throw out stuff off the top of our head because it's gonna cause you to click a button and pay. We
Right.
take a vested interest in seeing our students succeed and get
Yeah.
down in the trenches with them, not just
That
throwing
part.
some trash. I'm gonna say that way, throwing some trash up and taking some photos and putting out great Instagram content. We
Right.
are invested in the product that we stand
Yeah.
behind. We wouldn't plan on going here, but
We wasn't, but it needs to be said. And when you pay attention. I mean, at the end of the day, look, like for real, you make the investment because yeah, because you understand value, and that's it. It just is what it is. You can't build $1 million business for 99 cents. Come on.
facts. Let's keep moving, Serena, because we got 4 more points. We didn't plan on parking there.
Yeah, we did.
What's your number two? What's your number two?
My number two, wish I would have known. Wish I would have known. Certifications don't win contracts.
Certifications do not talk about it. Oh, I have students come to me. I gotta get my 8A and my SDVOSB and my WOSB. And I'm like, that's great. But do you know how the government works yet? Have you learned how to do this thing we call government contracting? That cert
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
gonna necessarily put money in your
In your
pocket.
pocket. Yeah. So, and I'm speaking as someone who when we first got started, literally in the first business, the construction site cleaning company, I was collecting certifications. Okay. So state level, I was MBE, DBE, SDB, NAACP, HIJK, LMNOP. Okay. All of them, if I qualified, I was getting it. Which is fine, right? And then as I moved into the federal space, we ended up, coming across the 8A certification, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But the way that it was presented, so again, on the things I wish I knew, the way that it was presented to me at the time was that, you can almost, you can get a certification and there are contracts that are like sitting aside. This is how they were using the words set aside, right? The word set aside. It was sitting aside waiting for me. And once I got my certification, I could like call a number, call a person, send an email, and let them know I am certified. And there were specific contracts that they would give to me. That's how it was presented when I first got started, and it was so wrong, right? The designations are what they are. They're designations, okay? You still have to be one capable. Let's just start there. You have to be capable of doing the work. You have to do the work of business development. You have to build relationships. You have to show up, okay? You have to be able to fulfill contracts. You have to have the capacity. There's so
Right.
many other things you need to have, and I think there was just so much emphasis on just
Right.
get certified, as if it was like an exchange. I give you certification, you give me contract, and that's not the way that that works.
Because we both know a lot of companies that are certified with with little to no contracts.
Yeah.
Now the 8A is probably the exception rather than the rule, but
No,
because
but
the
8A
8A,
too. There's so many 8A people with no contracts.
they got the $25,000, one-time deal that allowed them to qualify to get it. And
Mhm.
so, to your point though, the certifications by themselves do not, and I do want to repeat this, do not predicate success.
Yeah.
And how many companies, and I don't want to get ahead of us, but how many companies have you seen that get a specific certification, run the bag up for 9 years, and then lose once the certification is no longer in play? They
Mhm.
graduate, they advance out because of revenue. How many companies have we seen either revenue cut in half because
Yep.
they were completely dependent upon the certifications, or 5 years later they're not even in the game anymore? I've
Right.
seen over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah, because you came in without a real strategy, and so, and I think it goes back to something we've talked about before, Curtis, or at least, I'm sure we shared this. When you're getting into government contracting, like, you do need a why. Like, why are you here? Like, what are you doing? What are you building? And that needs to be clear, because I think it is still, sometimes looked at as this get rich quick type of thing, and it's not that. And for me, I know with my students, I'm working with individuals who are established business owners, who have a track record of providing product or service on the commercial side, and they are looking to expand into government contracting as a separate division of their company, or an extension into a new company. Like, they have something, okay, and they're looking to build. I can't help nobody build a lemonade stand, and that's the truth. Like, I don't build lemonade stands. If we're gonna build and really make an impact in our community, we're gonna employ people. We're gonna build something for the next 3 generations. Like, we want to work with people with that kind of a mindset. And when you have that mindset, you make strategic decisions. It's
Absolutely.
not, I'll take whatever I can get. Eh,
Right.
Wait a minute. Let's, back that up, because you might want to just like sit back and say, what am I building? And now what are the steps to build that?
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
Not
that
just on SAM.gov, just bidding on anything because you think you can win, and then putting in a lowball price, and then what was supposed to be a blessing feels like a curse because you didn't understand price.
listen, you know how I feel about SAM.gov anyway. But yes, that whole transaction you just outlined, yes, that is, a lot of people are right there. Um, Maybe I would add another one. You just mentioned SAM. Um, I don't use SAM.gov, and I don't teach my students to use SAM.gov to find opportunities. Primarily, we do a lot of trying to identify opportunities, not trying to, we do it well. We identify opportunities before SAM as much as possible, like before it's an actual a solicitation on SAM. I'll say it that way, because I'm primarily focusing on winning without writing proposals. So we just have a different strategy, and there's many strategies. But the SAM, before it was SAM, it was what, FBO, right? FBO.gov. You remember that? No, and then it was CCR separate. It was CCR and FBO.
CCR was, yep, it was separate. So CC,
CCR was
we
your
still on our date.
registration.
The Central Contractor Registration. That's what preceded
Yes, yes.
SAM.gov. And before there was SAM.GOV, the contract opportunities piece, it was FBO.
It was FBO.
Fed Ops.
Yes, Fed Biz Ops. Yes, we back them there, and then shoot, there was, what was it before? It was something else. There was something else like early. You used to have to find these in the newspaper. So like there was like a paper like for contract opportunities. Anyway, I'm not that old, but I was like right in that early 2000s.
Daily. You had a bunch of.
Oh yeah. So wait, FBO Daily, I absolutely still use. Do you know that? I do. FBO Daily. You know why? Because it's easier to find source of salt that way. FBO, so it's like Lauren data. It's like a antiquated. It's FBO Daily. It's FBO Daily. I'm almost positive. But because now you got me. Yeah, it's so much easier to pull up source of salt. Yes, Lauren Data's SAM Daily. So FBO Daily
to see what came out on FBO on a daily basis. So everybody today goes and scours to look at. Oh, let me go look. No, I would put in alerts.
Yep.
And it would send me all the opportunities based on my search profile every day. And I would start my morning going through the list to see, okay, what this is what we knew in the better. This is when we were being reactive and not being proactive like we teach today. How do I know the opportunities coming for a hit SAM? But you said a lot. Look, I'm gonna go ahead and give a news flash because I don't think everyone knows this. All of the contracts available in the federal space are not on SAM.gov. Sirena said this before, kind of differently than how I just said it, but I want you to listen to that. All of your opportunities in the federal space, contrary to whatever your popular guru may have said, all of the opportunities are not on SAM.gov.
They're not. They're not for various reasons, but they're not. First of all, and I think that was one of the first kind of aha moments I had when I got into winning without proposals and then learning about products and different things like that. When it was FBO, and even now in SAM, it has this disclaimer that says, these opportunities are 25,000 and above.
Right.
And I was like, well, where the heck is 25,000 and below? If I just want to see, what's what's around, because I could do $7,000 or $10,000 opportunities and that'll be all right. So where are those? And that's what sent me down the path of, wait, there are other ways to win. And that's how I got into more like the purchase cards and building these relationships and getting on the forecast, having different conversations, asking agencies, hey, where do you post your opportunities that are under 25,000? And they'd be like, nowhere. And I would say, I know. So let me talk to you about that. What are you about? And I would start conversations like that, but no one was teaching that. I was curious, and I started doing that. And I started teaching my students how to do, basically the same thing. But yes. SAM is, I don't love SAM. I love SAM for certain things, research, award data, sources sought. Of course, you got to get that on SAM, and your RFIs. And I like using SAM to find industry days. People don't talk about using SAM for that. It's a special notice. Like you can find industry days on SAM. So it has its perks, and they're trying to put like the FBDS data in within SAM as well, certain reports, but that's my thing on SAM.
No, good. And that wasn't even on our list to talk about.
That wasn't on our list.
A whole bunch of other insight that we were not planning on providing. Okay, we got to keep moving down the list. We didn't give y'all a bunch of freebies that we were not even planning on talk about, but we got to talk about in this list of 5 things I wish I would have known before I got started. We talked about leveraging the free resources. We talked about the certifications. What about the money?
Oh, the money.
Tell me about number 3, the money. Tell me about the money.
Listen, I'll start by saying your personal credit matters. Okay. Your business credit matters. It all matters. And I know you get it, because I get people who just want to come in and make money. And it's like, Yeah, but you are building a business
Yeah.
again. So there are things that need to be in place, and you can't just overlook, okay, you got terrible credit and you want to just win contracts. Like, you do need to start working on your your personal credit and your business credit. So that's one. But I wish I would have known that it is easier to get lines of credit and things and build capacity when you don't need it. Okay.
That's it.
So when the money is good, okay, when everything is flowing like it ought to flow, because there famine is coming and then flow again and then famine, because that's
Mm.
how it happens. But when the money is good, that's the best time to get money. Okay. So I wish I would have known the power in getting a line of credit when I don't need it, okay, and having it when I need it. Okay, because no bank, no institution wants to lend to you when you're desperate. Like, I
No,
absolutely
I
need
need it.
this
Right.
right now. But when you don't need it, they'll throw money at you. And that's the best time to kind of set yourself up to build your capacity.
No, no,
Yeah.
you're spot on. And I tell students all the time, you don't go get business money from the banker that's sitting in the front desk at the local branch. We deal with the commercial banker who's typically in the high-rise building. They're not on the first floor, they're on one of the higher floors. And we talk to them about business opportunity. Your personal banker down at Wells Fargo, B of
Yeah.
A, they'll give you a signature line. They'll even probably give you a credit card. But if you're starting to talk about, getting to the money as a
Yeah.
business owner, there's some
Yeah.
things that are going to be requested.
Yeah.
Typically, they're going to want 3 years of financials, both
Yeah.
3 years of corporate financials. Let me talk about
Hmm.
what that means briefly, because we got people in various levels in their business journey. That's a P&L, profit and loss statement, also known as an income statement,
Yeah.
and a balance sheet. So the income statement shows the revenue coming in and the expenses for
Yeah.
the business. The balance sheet shows the assets, liabilities, and shareholders' equity, or what is the owner's value in the business. And then sometimes the cash flow statement won't be used as much. It'll show your financing activities, the operational expenses, the investments that the business is making. But primarily, they're going to want a P&L, also as an income statement, on a balance sheet for 3 years for the business, or not or, but and they're going to want 3 years of taxes, both personal as well as
And
business.
yeah. And I would take it a step further to
Okay.
say, not only do you want to talk to the commercial banker, but again, it goes back to, what are you building, right? What are you building? What is your why? And I would say you should bank with banks that are industry friendly. Do
Right.
your research. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Because, like, there are certain banks who are just lending friendly to certain industries. So TD, they're into the restaurants and stuff like that. They'll lend there, right? Key Bank is your real estate bank,
Mhm.
right? Navy Federal, anybody almost could get a line of credit with Navy Federal, but certain banks and financial institutions have certain industries where they're more friendly toward, and so do the research to see.
Right.
And some of you, especially if you're new and kind of getting started, again, what are you building, what is your why? Be careful, because you may be a new business picking the hardest NAICS code to get funded, right? So you're going in risky from the beginning. You're selecting, I don't know, what's one, heavy equipment, and I don't know,
Yep.
demolition. You're
That'll be a good one. Yeah.
you're doing something that's like risky. Everything about the business says it's risky. So do your research. What's
Right.
not so risky? And won't be so difficult for you to get funding for. So that's all a part of the what are you building? What is your why? Getting with people, getting with coaches and folks that can help guide you in the best path that you should take. So I would do the research on the bank.
Yep.
And that's the same kind of relationship. Like, we talk about relationship building, and I think that's one of my five. And it's a good segue because sometimes we think about leveraging relationships as just no, we talked about that already, the free resources, I think, in the relationships, but the leveraging relationships, it's not just relationships with your PCR or your CMR or your contracting officer. It's not just those relationships, banking relationships. Build those too, build relationships with your insurance carrier. Like, all those relationships matter. And you need to be developing them so that when you are in need, you can make a call and it's not the first time.
No, facts.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna say this as well, especially for my folks who are new and subbing. We were talking about money, and I have a hack. I'm not gonna give it here, but there's a way that you can get financing, and it's not based on your credit. So credit does not have to be a limiting factor in this space if
Absolutely.
you know what to do. Let me
Absolutely.
go ahead and say this. It is not going to be a cheap form of capital or inexpensive capital. We call it financing cost. The financing cost or capital cost is not going to be inexpensive, but it is a way to get into the game in the absence of not having stellar credit.
Mhm.
And when your customers are some of the largest businesses in the land and the federal government, if you find opportunity, I can find you the money.
For sure.
Money follows opportunity. Period. Point blank in the story.
For sure.
Okay. Let's keep moving because I know we got some time limitations today. Talk
Yes.
about the importance of sources sold and RFI.
Oh yeah, I definitely wish I would have known the power in answering sources sought opportunities. I think it's one of the most missed opportunities by most small businesses. Like, we're not thinking about sources sought and just the RFIs that are available to us. So a sources sought is simple. If you don't know what it is, it's literally the government seeking a source
Yeah.
to perform whatever service or provide whatever product or whatever. It's a chance for you to get in front of an opportunity before it's set aside for any of those designations. It's an opportunity for you to get in front of an opportunity and start talking about your company capabilities before it becomes a solicitation, right? Because it's not a solicitation yet. It's not an invite for pricing. It is an invite for, like, are you out there? Who are you? Could you do this work if it became an opportunity? And so that's one of the better ways to get ahead of an opportunity before it gets to SAM. And I do this definitely with my students. Like, you need to be answering. Actually, don't call me personally and ask me a question if you don't have 10 sources sought notices on your pipeline that would show you how to build. Like, have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? These are things that we score. We have a scorecard. And these are one of the activities that need to happen on your scorecard. You need to answer sources sought. In addition to putting in pricing and actually submitting bids, you got to be doing that as well. And I wish I would have known the power in doing that, because usually when you're answering a sources sought, you're going to get responded to fairly quickly. And we've had people respond, like send in their information for a sources sought and get a phone call within a week, like just asking more questions. And so that's always a great opportunity. And I totally did not know that prior to I did not know that early on in my government contracting journey. I wish I did.
And I've
Yeah.
seen sources sold, certain agencies, I'm not going to call the names here online. Certain agencies use sources salts to kind of bypass some of the FAR provisions, and they'll go from sources sought to contract.
To contract. Yeah, for
Because
sure.
in the source salt, they're not required to do debriefs. Some of the rules of engagement are suspended. So
Yeah.
I know another friend of ours, Guy Timberlake, talks about sources salt versus RFI. So I know we can throw the acronyms at them. So I'm gonna go ahead and apologize to our audience. RFI is request for information, and as Sirena said, It's just a way for the government to learn more. They're not certain who out there can do this. Can we set this aside for small business? Small business is a set aside category, but so is 8A, woman-owned small business, hub zone, service-disabled, veteran-owned small business. Those are all set aside under the small business banner. But that's one way they can figure out if this goes into a full-out contract opportunity or solicitation for industry. Can we set this aside for small business or one of those certification or socioeconomic categories I kind of just listed? And so when we respond, and typically you need 2 companies to respond for the government to have enough justification to either put it in the small business camp, 8A, woman-owned, hub zone, you guys get the idea. So when 2 people respond, that is enough notice for the federal government to know that a small business can, in fact, do
the work. Yep. And that is a missed opportunity by so many. So
we've covered 4. So I'm going to just give a recap, and then we're going to hit our 5th one. We talked about leveraging the free resources first. We talked about certifications was 2nd. We talked about money was our 3rd. And the 4th one was the importance of sources, SALTs, and RFIs. And the last one, what are the benefits to the 8A program, Sirena?
Oh, man. Yeah. So I got into the 8A program a little different, probably from some people, because I think people kind of get into government contracting and they link 8A and government contracting like together, like that's the way. Right. And that's not necessarily the way unless it is the way. Okay. It is the way if you're coming in with like a mentor, right? And you're the protege and you have a current 8A company who is like, listen, you get into this 8A program, my contracts are about to expire and you're going to be the prime and I'm going to be your sub. Like if you have that kind of relationship, which I know people who have gotten in that way, if that's your situation, then 8A from the door, right? But for us, we were well in business. I mean, we were at about $1 million. We were probably at 1.2 commercially before we got into the 8A program. So we had already proven, because it's a business development program. Excuse me. So we had already proven, we had some track record, we had some contracts, we had some things, we had systems, we had processes, we had people, we knew what we were doing. And so when we got into the 8A program as we were construction site cleaning, but in the 8A program, we became a like facilities management company. Facilities, because it just includes so many things. It's one of those big umbrellas. And facilities is like one of those NAICS codes that where they spend tons on in the 8A program. And there's a lot of opportunity, right? So a lot of categories fall within that NAICS code. So I wish I would have known the benefits that come along with the program earlier into the program. I was kind of familiar with sole source contracts, like where you don't have to bid. Again, I win without writing proposals, and that's part of that is getting sole source contracts, because you're not writing a proposal. You may have to, show that you're technically capable, but it's not a long drawn out 38,000 page proposal that needs to go through a award committee and all that stuff. So sole source contracts, I didn't know how powerful they could be. So I wish I would have known that. I certainly wish I would have known earlier that we had access to surplus equipment and material. And the government surplus program, particularly for the 8A contractors, can be very, very powerful, because you get access to equipment, supplies, things, even vehicles that you need to fulfill the work, right? Because it's business development. And so that was something I had no idea about until we were probably year 6 or 7. I'm like, man, I wish somebody would have told me this. And it was because I didn't have a great BOS at first, so the business opportunity. Oh yeah.
Acronyms.
Sorry, I'm speaking acronym.
Business opportunity support specialist, your boss.
your boss, and you get one of those with the 8A program. Like you get someone who can advocate for you, and then you find those sources sought opportunities, you get those search letters, like you can get ahead of some things and have them to support you in that. So I just didn't know, I didn't educate myself enough about all of the benefits of the program. I just kind of got into it because I was collecting certifications, and then we kind of stumbled into it. So yeah, those that's a couple things. I definitely wish I would have known that. And I teach a lot of that now to my 8A companies that are like in our in Highmark University. They're learning from a lot of what I did not know.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You gave another acronym. It's going to explain it. Well, not an acronym, but you gave another term, a search letter. A
Oh.
search letter is a letter that your boss, your business opportunity support specialist, sends out on your behalf, trying to determine if there's some interest in the products or services this 8A company. Again, the boss supports the 8A,
Mhm.
letting the associated agencies know that you exist, and here are some your core capabilities, and this is how you get in contact with this particular 8A. So that's one of the things that the 8A business opportunity support specialist at the SBA does for 8A recipients. Now,
And I,
one thing you did say, and I didn't mean to cut you off. One thing you did say was you wish you would have waited. One of the things I tell students, Sirena, when they ask me, hey, should I just get my 8A right away? I tell them to wait.
Mhm.
Wait until you understand how the federal government works, because you only have 9 years. Now, because of
That's it.
COVID, they did give current 8As an extra year because they basically
Yeah.
lost a year because of COVID. I don't know if that's going to stay. It's probably just a COVID thing. But they got an extra year because basically 20 and most of 2020 and 2021 were mostly a wash for
Yeah.
especially people who didn't have business already. So they gave
Right.
you an extra year. However, I tell companies, do not avoid the temptation to come out the gate certifying, especially as an 8A. Because you're going to get 9 years, whether you know what you're doing or not. So you'll
Yeah.
find a lot of businesses get the certification prematurely, and you already got the learning curve of this thing we call government contracting. And
Yeah.
then on top of that, the clock is still ticking. So they wasted 3-4 years trying to figure out what this government contracting thing is, and
Mhm.
sometimes they don't maximize their certification.
For sure, I totally agree, and that's kind of why I said in the beginning, the only reason to get into 8A right away is if you have a really compelling reason to get into 8A right away, and it would have to be something that means dollar cents and long term growth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the only time that's definitely the only time it makes sense, because you do not want to waste you don't want to waste those years.
And this is the one certification I kind of alluded to it earlier. We were talking about the certifications broadly. This is the one certification where I see where companies get the 8A, they get punch drunk on all these 8As set aside, excuse me, and sole sources. And then once that status is gone, now the 8A program will let you hold on to whatever 8A awards you have. We won't even get into the whole different phases and how that works. That'll take us down a whole nother rabbit hole. But but
Right.
but what we see though is what they get off of the 8A once.
Train.
There you go. Train is a better word. After they get off the 8A train, you see sometimes those companies struggle. They have
Yeah.
never really learned how to compete in the full and open market. And
Yeah.
so those programs are not designed to just give you sole source, and maybe even a set aside opportunity here and there that you competed for. Those programs are designed to
Yeah.
get you to a point where you can compete and stand on your own two proverbial feet. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of people do not approach it that way.
Oh,
They should
no, you're
be,
right.
yeah, they should be being very diverse in their
Right.
contract offerings, but you'll see 8As, all they got is 8A work. You won't see them actually having a nice mix of small business set aside, full
Yeah.
and open competition. You know, that's what should be happening, but it's not happening.
Right. It's not, and I mean, you do, for those that don't know, I mean, you do have to be in business 2 years, right? So you there are qualifications. We happen to have been in business longer than 2 years, and we're definitely established. Because for us, government contracting in that company at least was like it was a new division, and it was
Right.
something else we were going to use to do while we built the commercial business. So yes, it is key that you get into it when you're ready. And I tell my students the same thing, Curtis, about waiting.
Yeah, wait.
Waiting, and then having a plan and have an exit strategy.
Yeah.
My entrance strategy was I was going to file and expire in 8 days. My exit strategy is I'm going to be at expiring 8A one day. And so I need to identify other companies that are, that either I'm going to work with, team with, whatever, mentor,
Yep.
so that we can hold on to the contracts longer, longer than the 5 years that we had them. And so some companies can do that successfully, others do not. But yet, this is again why coaching and being with someone who can guide you is so important, so that you don't waste any of your time, energy, or resources.
No, awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So in recap, guys, and I'm gonna let Sirena get out of here in a moment. In recap, we talked about leveraging your free resources. We talked about that was number one. Number two was the importance of certifications. Number three was all about the money. You got to understand the money. Number four was understanding the importance of sources, SALTs, and RFIs. And last but not least, we talked about the benefits of 8A. Now, if you want to work with Sirena more closely on a one-to-one basis, Sirena, can you please tell the people how they can work?
Yeah, so our company is on a mission. Okay, it's mission 500K. That is our mission, to teach 500,000 small businesses how to succeed in government contracting without writing proposals primarily. And so you can learn more about our mission at mission500k.com. You can learn more about our School of Government Contracting at Highmark University .com. We have a $97 masterclass. It's just the intro to 3 ways to win without writing proposals, and then we go a little more into those, a lot more into those in our full School of Government Contracting. So Highmark University .com. Curtis is a dear friend to me, and certainly a mentor even to my students, as I am for his, and we just try to help each other. We do a lot on products, a lot on Dibs. Dibs is my favorite system, so a lot of people know that about us already. We didn't talk about it too much here, but Dibs is definitely, I got Dibs, okay, on Dibs, and that's one of my favorite ones. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Sirena, for taking time out your busy schedule to hang out with us today and put out and produce some more great content. I look forward to more engagement.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, we've come to the end of our time together. I hope this video was impactful. One of the things that we really want to do in this channel is we want to accelerate your learning curve. And you may make some new mistakes, but please don't make the mistakes that I've made. And so today, Sirena joined us and told us about some things she wished she would have known. I hope this serves you well on your government contracting journey. This is all I got for y'all in this video. So I want you to go back after you finish watching this video. I want you to go back and watch some of my other videos, and I will see you in a future video. Until next time.